Hi students, how are you all? Today I am going to teach about irrigation engineering. In irrigation engineering, unit 1 for almost all syllabus, all universities or all engineering colleges syllabus, the first and fundamental topic in irrigation engineering is crop water requirement. So before going into details, we should know what is irrigation. Irrigation is defined as a process of supplying water to crops artificially. So we all knew that the rain helps the plants to grow, crops to grow, but all areas may not receive sufficient rainfall to feed all the crops. Therefore, water is to be supplied artificially to the agricultural fields where there is less rainfall in order to meet the needs of the people in the form of producing crops, rice, wheat, jova, maize, whatever we are eating. All plants or crops need irrigation water. That means artificial supply of water because there is less supply of water through rain. So I just want to show you a small YouTube video just for your understanding. I have given the link here. See, this is an irrigation canal. All of you can see this. This is an irrigation canal. Irrigation canal is nothing but water is supplied artificially. See, you can see here through a man-made canal. Rivers, streams are natural water supplies and irrigation canal is a man-made canal. Okay, so here you can see by the construction of this canal, the sides can be, the banks of the canal can be used as roadway. Here you can see this video, somebody posted this video telling that irrigation canal lifeline of our village and farming. That is true. Irrigation canals gives life to a particular village, and not only that, irrigation canals are the source of the transportation also to some of the remote villages. So you can see here, just wanted to tell you how water is supplied artificially. Okay, here you can see from a river, water will be diverted into the irrigation canal, and from irrigation canal water will reach the agricultural lands. Okay, let us go ahead with our PPT. Then what is the necessity of irrigation? As just now I told you, the main reason for irrigation, that is artificial supply of water, is insufficient rainfall. Wherever there is no sufficient rainfall, in those areas irrigation is needed. And the second point is where there is uneven or non-uniform rainfall distribution, in those areas, in order to grow plants or crops, in order to grow crops like rice, wheat, maize, zoar, etc., we need water, sufficient water. So where there is uneven or non-uniform rainfall distribution, there necessity of irrigation is always there. Then improvement of perennial crops. Perennial crops means throughout the year they will be growing. So that if crops are growing throughout the year, definitely those crops need more water, and these perennial crops, as they are grown continuously throughout the year, they will help in increasing the economy of a country. Okay, that is about the necessity of rainfall, irrigation. Sorry. Then, what are the benefits by doing artificial supply of water to the agricultural lands? What are the benefits we have to know? First one, yield of crops. If water is sufficient, you can see lot of yield. If water is not sufficient, you cannot see any yield. For example, I tell you, let us say 1 acre of land is taken by a farmer to grow paddy, that is rice. And he was completely depending upon uh, rainfall only. And he was expecting for 1 acre of land, maybe he must be expecting some 100 kgs of rice, 100 bags of rice. Each bag, let us say 50 kg. Okay, so 100 bags of rice he is expecting from 1 acre of land, and he is completely depending upon rainfall only. Imagine if there is no rainfall for continuous 1 month or 1.5 months, then what will happen to the crop? Obviously, some some area may get start drying, and there will not be sufficient water for the crops to grow, for the paddy to grow. Then obviously, when the farmer is expecting 100 bags of rice, he cannot even get even 10 bags of rice because there is no sufficient water. See, if we are not drinking water continuously for 2 3 hours, how we'll get dried off, right? In the same way, crops also need a regular supply of water. If it is not there, you cannot expect any yield. Okay, that is what is yield of crops. Then optimum benefits. See, there is a point up to which when the water is supplied to the crops, they'll give optimum benefit. Okay, that means if let us say a crop needs 5 centimeter depth of water every 15 days. So if 5 centimeters depth of water is supplied every 15 days, you can expect maximum benefit out of that agricultural land. If you are supplying less than that, you cannot expect optimum benefit. If you are supplying more than that also, you cannot expect optimum benefit. So artificial supply of water where there is no sufficient rainfall will help in optimum benefits. Then water supply. See, I have shown you the irrigation canal, right? From that irrigation canal, it can be used as a source of water supply to the remote villages. And the second thing, and the next thing is general communication. I have shown you the banks of an irrigation canal can be used for the purpose of transportation or laying electric poles so that those villages will get electricity. And these irrigation canals can be used as navigation for the purpose of navigation. Then when there is sufficient rainfall, you can eliminate mixed cropping because a single crop is grown, optimum benefit can be attained. If mixed crops are grown, you cannot expect the optimum benefit or the maximum benefit. Then these irrigation canals or the irrigation gives prosperity to farmers. Not only the prosperity to farmers, but also it improves the economy of the country. Then aesthetic view, then development of fishery, then tree plantation. All these are the benefits of irrigation. Okay. Then nutrition of population, recreation. Yeah, boating can be done in irrigation canals if needed. Then social and cultural improvement, self-sufficiency in food, which is very much important. If we have sufficient irrigation canals and water is supplied properly through these irrigation canals, then you need not depend on any other source to grow your food in your city or country. You need not depend on importing the food sources from other countries. These are the benefits of irrigation, right? Then, apart from benefits, there are certain ill effects also of irrigation. First one, it affects the rising of water table. See, when continuously water is supplied to these agricultural lands, the water, excessive seepage water will cause the groundwater table to rise. What is the loss if the groundwater table is raised in that area is the root zone of the crop gets saturated and becomes alkaline, which is harmful to the crops and plants. And not only that, over a period of time, when this water table is increasing, uh, there may be water logging happening in the agricultural lands. The- So, coming to the ill effects of irrigation, apart from the benefits, first one is effect on water table. That means I have already told you water table will be raised, and due to which the soil becomes alkaline and harmful to the crops and plants. And the second ill effect is damp climate, where there is this irrigation canal or where these irrigation projects are happening. There, the climate will become damp, and which may adversely affect some of the people who are not suitable, whose health is not suitable to the damp climate. Then these irrigation canals are the places where these irrigation projects are happening. They may be the places of breeding of mosquitoes. And for some people, they may lose their valuable land while laying down this irrigation canal, or whenever there is a construction of a dam and reservoir for the purpose of supplying artificial water to the agricultural lands, definitely some people may have to lose their valuable land for the construction of this dam, reservoir, etc. Okay. Then, what are the different types of soil water or soil moisture in terms of irrigation we should know? Okay. So, the first water is gravitational water. Gravitational water is whether when the soil is receiving irrigation water or rainfall, some of the water will be automatically going through gravity into the soil, through the soil pores, and reaching the groundwater table. That water is called as gravitational water. And the second type of water is capillary water. Capillary water is below the gravitational water, it reaches the ground surface. Okay, that means this part of water is absorbed by root zone of the crop. Then hygroscopic water. Hygroscopic water is attached to soil particles through loose chemical bond, which is called as hygroscopic water. And this water can be removed from the soil only by application of heat. So during drought situations, plant roots will extract this hygroscopic water. See, here you can see hygroscopic water. Each particle is surrounded by a water layer, which are separate. And here capillary water, so much of water is there, but everything cannot be taken up by the plant. Here gravitational water, you can see lot of water is there and water is getting drained into the ground. Then, what are the factors affecting water requirements of crops? First one, water table. I told you If water table is sufficiently above in the ground surface, then the requirement of irrigation water to that particular agricultural land will be less. Then climate also, if it is a hot climate, lot of evaporation losses will be there, then water requirement will be more when compared with the cold climate. See, let us take ourselves as example. During summer, we take lot of water. We feel so thirsty so frequently. When it is winter season, you may not feel like drinking water at all for a lot of time. That is the difference. Even plants also do the same. Then depending upon the type of soil also, water requirement of crops will be. If soil is porous, water percolates quickly into the ground, therefore water requirement is more. If clay soil, water will not be seeping so quickly into the ground, therefore water requirement will be less. And depending upon the method of plowing also, water requirement will be there. Then intensity of irrigation, how intensified supply of water is needed also affects the water requirement. Then ground slope, we need not tell you, if steep ground, water flows down quickly. Then if it is a flat slope, water flows slowly, therefore water requirement will be less. Then the method of application of water also plays vital role in factors affecting water requirements of crops. Okay. Then here you have to see this important classification of crops. See, actually irrigation engineering is really very, very interesting subject, When you really understand all this, you feel like getting immersed into the subject, I tell you. So, what are different types of crops? Wet crops. Wet crops, which lands are irrigated, and dry crops, which do not need irrigation. Okay? Dry crops are those which will take water from the rain or ground water. They'll grow somehow. But wet crops are not like that. They need irrigation water. Okay, artificial supply of water. Then garden crops are those which need irrigation water throughout the year. And summer crops, which is called as Kharif crop, winter crops, which are called as Rabi crops. We are going to see in detail in the next slides about Kharif crops and Rabi crops. So summer crops, which are also called as Kharif crops, are those which are sown during the southwest monsoon and harvested in autumn. And winter crops are sown in autumn and harvested in spring. And cash crops. Cash crops which has to be encashed in the market. That means they will improve the economy of the country. They will give prosperity to the country. Those crops are called as cash crops. See, now crop seasons. I told you, there are two types of crops, Rabi crop and Kharif crop, I told you. In North India, the crop season is divided as Rabi and Kharif. Rabi crops are called as winter crops and Kharif crops are called as summer crops. I already told you. So, because Kharif crops are summer crops, they require more water than Rabi crops. Rabi crops start from 1st October and ends from 31st March. And Kharif crops start from almost like April, May, like that, and ends in November. Okay. In Tamil Nadu, crops are classified as wet crops and dry crops. Now, there are some important definitions all of you should know and understand. In that, the first one is gross command area. So, it is the area up to which irrigation canals are capable of supplying water for irrigation purpose. Then the next definition is culturable command area. It is the area where crops can be grown satisfactorily. Okay. Then cash crops, I already told you, which gives economy to the country. Then crop rotation is another important term you have to know. See, the process of changing type of crop that is to be grown in the same field is known as crop rotation. What will happen now if the same crop is grown throughout the year? Then whatever nutrients that are required will be taken up by that particular plant, and over a period of time, at some point, the fertile land becomes infertile because the required nutrients were already taken up by the particular crop. So again, if you are growing the same crop, the fertile land becomes infertile, I told you, no? So nutrients may not be sufficient to grow that particular crop. That's why it is necessary to adopt crop rotation. That means one crop, then next other crop, other type of crop, like that. Then crop period, from the time of sowing to the time of harvesting, the crop requires, okay, is called as crop period. Okay, thank you.